Who are we designing for is a key question in product design. It's impossible to create a successful product without knowing who will be using it. User persona is one of the most useful tools that allow you to understand your target audience. In today's video, we will discuss what user persona is and how to create one. User personas are fictional characters that represent a group of users that might use your product in a similar way. Well-designed persona has an opportunity to become a user archetype, which product teams use to assess design decisions. Why are personas so important? User personas help uncover the different ways people interact with your product. Product creators can use this information to improve the user experience of real use cases. Here are 3 benefits of using personas in design. User personas foster empathy towards users. Empathy is a key ingredient of product design. When a team doesn't relate to their users, the outcome of the design process will never be effective. Lack of empathy typically happens when a team designs for abstract user, a user without specific properties. Such users are represented only by numbers in research findings. Well-designed user persona, on the other hand, can add a human touch to user research findings. When product teams use user personas, they start to think about a particular person they're designing for. User personas help product creators to stay away from self-referential design. Creating a product for ourselves, not our users, is one of the most common mistakes in product design. In psychology, this is known as false consensus effect. It's a situation when we assume that others share our beliefs and will behave similarly in a given context. Personas help designers to step out of themselves and start to think about the needs and wants of people who will use a product. Last but not least, personas help product designers to prioritize features. It's much easier to understand what features will bring the most value to users when you evaluate them based on the persona's needs. This approach allows product creators to prioritize feature requests. For example, when someone promotes a certain feature, the team will evaluate it based on how this feature addresses the persona's needs. Now let's talk about what to include in user persona. Suppose we want to create a user persona for a service that allows people to book appointment for medical care. A persona will be 1 or 2-page document with a description that includes the attributes like name and photo. It's better to avoid using real names or photos of people you know because they will bias the objectivity of your personas. Personas should be realistic, not real. Demographic details. You should include information such as persona's age, occupation, education, family status. Interests. What gets persona excited? Maybe it's a personal hobby. Goals. The goals that the persona wants to achieve using your product. Frustration. Those are pain points that the persona has. For example, the persona might have troubles using the product because they are not very tech savvy. And some context-specific details. This information about the persona will have a direct impact on the product design. For example, you might want to include factors that motivate user to use a product, as well as primary channels for interaction with your product. It's easy to assume that the more details you add to a persona, the more vivid it becomes. In reality, too many details can become distracting. It's vital to remember that personas do not describe real people. You need to make persona realistic, not real. When to create a user persona? Personas are typically created during the analysis phase of design process. At that moment, the team will have enough information about the target audience and can frame it in the form of user persona. Personas guide the ideation process and help product teams to gain a perspective similar to the user. The user personas lead to a genuinely user-centered design, where every design decision is evaluated based on the user's needs and wants. Now let's talk about best practices for created user personas. First, don't use personas as a replacement for user roles. User roles define what permissions users have and what tasks they can perform in a product. For example, in the context of a website management system, the roles might be administrator, moderator, or author. User personas reflect real user patterns, not their roles. In other words, in the context of a website management system, the same user can have multiple roles. For example, it can be an administrator and an author. A user persona should not be based on a guess. Personas that are based on an assumption alone usually bring more harm than good. They might guide the product team in a wrong direction during the product design, and the team might start to doubt that the persona is a realistic user. That is why every aspect of a user persona should be based on the real data about user collected during user research. The most accurate personas are based on insights collected directly from the people who will represent your target audience. In-depth user interviews will help you understand the target audience needs, wants, and motivations. Try to introduce user interview in your design process from the very beginning. If you have an existing user base, you can arrange a series of contextual inquiries to observe how real users interact with your product in the environment. Analytics is another good option for collecting user data. While analytics cannot replace user interviews or contextual inquiries, information from web analytics tools like Google Analytics can help you build a provisional persona. And provisional persona can be a good temporary solution until you have more information about your users. Personas will help you identify user behavioral patterns. Behavioral patterns are common ways in which people interact with your product. Identifying them will tell you how users behave in a particular context. There are a few tools that can help you identify patterns, such as empathy map, affinity diagram, and user journey. Those tools will help you group people that share similar behavior patterns into type of users, which can be modeled in the personas. You need to prioritize user personas. Many product teams create more than one persona during the design process. Different personas represent different audience segments, but not all of them are equally important. When trying to evaluate each design decision according to the needs and wants of all personas, the design process will become too complex. It's nearly impossible to satisfy the needs of everyone who uses your product. That is why it's essential to do two things. First, minimize the number of user personas. In most cases, it's possible to work with up to 2 or 3 personas. Ensure that personas you choose to create represent a large segment of your user base, say 80 or 90% of your users. And second, you need to identify the primary persona. The primary persona should represent the most valuable group of users. All product design decisions should be made with the primary persona in mind and then evaluated against the secondary personas. Number 5. You need to tie personas to particular scenarios. Personas have no value in and of themselves. They become valuable only when they tied up to a particular scenario. A scenario is an imagined situation that describes how a persona would interact with a product in a particular context to achieve a specific goal. It should be a realistic situation that describes how a persona would interact with the product to solve a particular problem. Here are a few questions that will help you create a scenario. What does a user wants to do with your product? What is the goal that the user wants to achieve? Where is the interaction take place? Will the environment have any limitations? And what are the expectations that the user has about interaction with your product? The story that will frame a scenario should be engaging. It should make readers want to be actively involved in the lives of the personas. The story should have all traditional stages such as exposition, rising action, and climax. Of course, it might be hard to achieve this goal with the text alone. That is why you can use a storyboard to help product team visualize the scenario of interaction. Storyboarding will help you find the potential areas of friction, areas where persona might face problems while interacting with your product. Next, it's important to make team members to use persona in design process, but it's really tricky. because team members should understand the value that persona brings to them, and it usually happens only when they involved in persona design right from the very beginning. That is why you should avoid creating persona alone. You need to invite team members in persona design and ensure that their opinion and feedback is recognized and valued. After you create a persona, it's recommended to make a physical version of the document and share it with the team members. For example, it can be a poster of your persona that you can hang it somewhere in an office space so everyone can see it. Last point. Creating a persona is not a one-and-done exercise. Like most design artifacts, personas should be developed iteratively during the build, measure, learn product design cycle. Also, the needs and wants of your target audience can change over time, and you should revise your persona regularly. Design is not for designers, it's for users. Personas can help product teams to gain a perspective similar to the user and design better products. If you like this video, please subscribe and click on this tiny bell icon so you'll never miss a new video. Thank you.